So, good afternoon and welcome to Guided Meditations and More. My name is Ade Richardson, and this is the Guided Meditations and More podcast, where I interview various types of people on a variety of topics. So, this is something, this page I started back in March when COVID hit as a source where people can go and connect and find a community there to help move through the difficult times that we're facing right now. Another thing I offer on this page is guided meditations. I do live guided meditations every Thursday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and on Sundays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So today we're here with Taslima Akhter. Welcome, Taslima.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Good to have you here. And I'm going to read your bio.
All right.
And this is in her words. I received my master's in public health, having worked over 15 years in healthcare and corporate setting, helped me instill a deep passion about helping people to overcome resistance and barriers to live a healthy, balanced life. Today, I come to you through a universal calling. I feel your grief. I hear your sorrow. I understand your fears. I have been where you are. From the depths of darkness, I have fought to create a life that seemed unimaginable to my former self. I am a resilient fighter, a spiritual coach, and a voice for our united future. I've taken everything I have overcome and insert it into my work, helping others to sow new seeds of hope, purpose, fulfillment, and destiny. I will enable you to take back your power, harness your inner strength, lead with your intuition, and open yourself to joy, love, and a sustainable transformation. Together, we will walk towards the life you've always desired of living. So that's great.
Thank you.
So we met here, on Facebook, and we've actually done some video work together. So I got
Yeah.
a chance to know you a little bit more, and we had a long conversation. And I really, appreciate your passion for this work, and I get the sense that you really embody, what you preach. And I know you've also had quite a journey. And so where should we start? Should we where are you from? Let's start at the beginning and feel
Sure.
free to go with it in whatever direction you'd like. But perhaps let's start with where you're originally from and let's start there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I do want to commend you for your ability to ask some really awesome questions to extract and pull somebody's, um, you know, I guess, heart's, words into the surface. I really appreciate that. So, a little bit about me in a snapshot. I'm from Bangladesh. It's a country in Southeast Asia between India and, um, forgive me, I'm not the best on geography, but where we share a border with India. And it's predominantly, I would say, 85% Muslim country, very rigid Muslim country. I came to US. I migrated here in the US when I was 8 years old. We were the first generation immigrants. We came here as illegal immigrants. We didn't intend to stay here. We came here on tourist visa to see my sister, who was about to have a baby. So we just kind of came to visit her and to support her through the pregnancy. And then we were going to go back. And then, of course, I was 8 years old. My mother was like, well, we're here for 6 months. You might as well just, start school for 6 months and then we'll head back. That way you learn English and you learn a new something or whatnot. And yeah, and before you know it, my mother was like, well, you know what, did better education. We're just going to stay here and the life of an illegal immigrant in the US. And And then my sister had to apply for us, and we eventually got our legal papers in the US.
So
So that's
you were, how old were you again? Did you say
when I
13?
came into the US, I was 8 years old.
Oh, 8 years old. Okay. And what was
Yeah.
it like a shock compared to Bangladesh?
I mean, you know what it is that living in a third world country at that time, this is many, I'm much older now. At that time, we looked at the Western world as the land of opportunities, as the land of where all the dreams come true. We saw people eating luscious big fruits, and where you live in, just there were a lot more opportunities here, better nutritious food, better living, better, like dollar was more than what it was in our country at that time. So for me, I was like, wow, it's like a win-win situation at an 8-year old, like candies were 5 cents, bazooka. Like, my gosh, I think the first few months I ate so much candy and had multiple cavities because, like it's just the basic things that children, I don't know how it is now. I mean, like, this is like much later now. But at that time, it was like, my gosh, I was like, a blow pop was like 5 cents. Like, it was like heaven. Like, that's all I did was like buy candies. And
Which
so
part of where in the States did you originally?
we, yeah. So originally we came to Bronx. We stayed in Bronx. And then we moved to then my father had gotten a job offer in Detroit, Michigan. So we moved there. After 6 months, the snow at Detroit was just insane. It was like 12 inches. It was bad. And then my sister kind of wanted us closer because she was about to have another baby, and so it was just kind of like, so we kind of ended up coming back, but we didn't come in Bronx because my sister's family was getting bigger and she didn't have space, so we kind of just settled in Brooklyn. And so I guess I would say from the age of 10 to, I guess I was 27 when I left Brooklyn.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you were there during the some
I
of the
would say
rough
that's,
times in Brooklyn.
oh my gosh, it was, and we lived in a very socioeconomically disadvantaged neighborhood,
Yeah.
I mean, you can imagine, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what we could afford at that time, but to me, I never saw it that way. Because, like for me, it was like I was 10 years old, and at that age, you really can't, the disparity in you doesn't really exist, like you don't really see it because you all grew up together. So for me, I mean, it was what it was, but we just kind of become immune to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm
it
from
was,
Brooklyn
yeah,
as well. And one of our listeners who joined us, Cecilia, she's from Brooklyn as well. So we have some Brooklyn folks here.
yeah, absolutely. So I was right at the core of Flatbush, right there in Flatbush, like the junction, that's where I grew up. And I think that growing up in that neighborhood kind of was also the motivation to want better for my life. I think it was also the place was like, I want more. Like, I want more. I want to build myself to make my way out of this,
And where do you think
because
you got that from? That kind of that idea of, okay, I can better myself out of it. I can get out of this situation. Was it from one of your parents? Was it from someone you looked up to? Where do you think that came from?
for me, looking back now, it was my own personal journey. Obviously, as a family, as an immigrant family, we wanted the big TV stand, we wanted the big screen TV, we wanted the DVRs, we wanted the headphones, we wanted to wear the Jane Sport and the Fila sneakers. That was the thing, but we couldn't afford that, right? So there was that thing where it was like we wanted that big TV, a color TV, and not a 14-inch TV that we got probably from on the sidewalk. You know what I mean? You know, like we took hand-me-downs from the neighbors, you know, like pots and pans and sweaters and sneakers and whatever. I mean, we couldn't afford because we were like working odd jobs at that time. You know, my brother worked at a shoe store and my father was like, yeah, so I saw some real hard poverty times. We were like all like six of us was living in one bedroom apartment. I slept on the floor, living room floor most of my life, you know, being like the girl, and they were like my brothers are two boys and my parents, you know. So yeah, I know I saw some real struggles, but my personal journey, you know, as a woman coming from a Muslim nation, with that kind of conditioning of a Muslim girl's position and what's her position in a Western world is even more stricter and more tighter and more refined and more boxed and more deprived because, you know, it was like, oh, we don't want her to get lost here. There's teenage pregnancy here. There's promiscuity. You know, there's just this need to over possessiveness and protectiveness. Oh, look at girls wear, you know, like their boobs and tits and ass hanging out. You know,
Mm.
like that was like shame, shame, shame. You know, like so. I mean, we came from that very messed up. I'm not talking about the religion here because I'm not by no means I'm not trying to start a religious reformation, but it was the conditioning
Yeah.
of believing that I was limited, right? I couldn't do this, I couldn't go there, I couldn't wear this, I couldn't be this person, or I couldn't be anything I wanted to be because I had to you know, remain this modest, pious Muslim girl. But deep down inside I wasn't, right? And you know, deep down inside I wanted to be this liberated, free woman, you know, girl who could do what she wanted, dream what she wanted, be what do, say, have, you know, she wanted to be free from judgment, free from telling her that she wasn't good enough, or she, you know, like, and building her up to be this prize for marriage, you know, essentially was her end game, right? Her end game and end goal was marriage. And that speaks to so many women out there, even in the modern world. I feel that a woman feels a sense of accomplishment with a relationship and a marriage, giving her power away to that status and that label. And I think for me, what I realized is that I did that. You know, I got married when I was 25. I got divorced when I was 31. And I think that that's when my real feminine journey began, because I think it kind of shattered everything I ever believed in, that I was conditioned to believe that my life was. I was that good girl, um, who went through that process of, and then when so much things happened and crumbled in my life, I think that's when my real feminine journey began, is now how do I build myself back up?
So
You
what
know,
were those
how, what,
things that, can you talk a little bit about those
oh
things
yeah,
that kind of,
absolutely. I mean, I think it really started from a very early age, and I didn't realize it. I think looking back, retrospectively, I'm understanding myself better, my feminine journey better to becoming an empowered woman. Is, when I was sexually abused by multiple people. A few of those were family members at a very early age. So by default, I I was scared. I had to protect myself. So I think that was the first sign of resiliency and control. Like I had to protect myself. I had to take care of me, and I had to raise me. And at that age, I really didn't understand much of any of this. I just knew instinctively that I had to do that. I didn't have much of a body awareness. I was 3 years old. This was 3 to, I guess, 7, and I came to US when I was 8. So, there's a lot of people, men that lurk around and prey on children that are unattended. My mother had 6 kids and I was the youngest of 6, and she was so busy with the older children, and she would always leave me behind with the maids. The maids would hit me, beat me. I probably had many head traumas from that. Like I remember the earliest age I do remember this, believe it or not, when I was 2. I was beaten really badly by the housekeeper because she was frustrated because she had to do so much work. She was a kid herself. She was a
Yeah.
child slave. You know what I mean? Back home, you have child slaves. She was bought from the village because, we gave her home and shelter in return for her labor. That
Mhm.
was the norm, like this is a third world country. So what happens when you have an abused child abusing another child?
Yeah.
That's the cycle, right? I mean, you have, so I obviously forgive her, like I have no qualms with her. She was just a kid, who just wanted to, she was a teenager who just wanted to flirt with the neighborhood guys who worked, a clerk that worked at a store, gave her free stuff and flirted with her. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's what I remember. My mother used to leave me with her because she had to get my brothers and my others from school, and she had to leave me behind. But yeah, it was sad. It was very sad. I remember I was petrified to be left with her. She would feed me like really spicy peppers,
Mm.
like chili red peppers. Like, you know what I mean? Like she was, like she would do things, and she was a kid herself, and I totally forgive her, because she was an abused child herself. Her family just sent her off to this place in the city where she had to take care and clean, wash her dishes and clean that. She was a child slave, and this is the, like the abuse pattern, right? And
Yeah.
so then I came to US, and I went through my own journey of, being abused, also growing up in an abusive home where it was so restricted. I couldn't go out, and I wasn't good enough. It was just being this perfect person.
Mm.
And I feel like so many people out there could resonate with different points that I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I feel, and this is why I feel like I want to be more vocal and open about it, is because I don't think that people really realize that how much of our life is truly, undoubtedly, inevitably shaped by our childhood.
Mm.
Our entire life is designed and shaped by our childhood. I was, when I were growing up, I was so controlling. I was so controlling because remember, as a child, I had to control and protect myself.
Yeah.
I was very protective over everyone and even myself. So I couldn't let go and release control.
Mm.
And so I was very protective. I had trust issues, right? Couldn't trust men because
Mhm.
I thought that men were just all after one thing. And also what my mother reiterated, like to prevent me from engaging any sexual or, behaviors. So do you see how everything is just sort of like a
Yeah.
cycle, it's a pattern. And then I dated men and was in a relationship where I was abused, you know, verbally abused, physically abused, and then, like betrayed, lied, cheated on because they could, and I know now it wasn't because I lacked anything or I wasn't good enough. And for a very long time I blamed myself. Oh, if I was skinny, if I was prettier, if I was taller, if I was this, if I was smarter, if I made more money, if I was this and that, like I gave so much of my power away throughout my life to different circumstances and situations. I gave pieces of myself to everything and everyone. And I didn't realize that, of course I didn't realize that. And then I realized that now I know. I was like, wait a minute, I wasn't lacking anything. It wasn't because of me that this person was misbehaving. There was two reasons that was happening. One was because I never really cleared the abuse coding that I was carrying with me that was magnetizing these type of shitholes. And second, he also has his own coding of abuse within him. So we became a match,
Yeah.
right? So we magnetized each other. So, and I didn't know that. And this is the thing that I try to educate people, is that you cannot attract what you're not, right? People want that relationship where they want the man to respect them, or they want that money, that opportunity, the life, the friends, the social life, the support, the love, and whatever. But remember, the clearing has to start with me. Because why else am I attracting anything less than what I desire? What in me needs to be cleared? So, and of course, I didn't know that. And remember, I didn't have a role model, and who was going to have these women talk with me? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, in my family, it was a taboo. You didn't talk about this. It's tarnishes the family image, or makes us look bad, or people are going to think you're used and abused, and that doesn't look good. You're the girl with a lot of issues or something. Like, you start going through that, and
so you were keeping everything. You're keeping everything within, or
I think that I held on to so much of it, and also because I was like, yeah, whatever, everybody goes through it, no big deal. It happened 30 years ago, or it happened this, no big deal. Like we don't. But remember, we have a hard drive, our subconscious mind, that's storing all this information from ourselves to others. We're projecting that into the universe. It's an autopilot, whether we like it or not. How many times do we say things like, oh, all men are assholes, or they're just douchebags, or, oh, man, they only want one thing, or, like, he's just a player. Why do we have such negative perception of men, right? And then if we believe that, then that's what we're going to attract. So where does these beliefs come from? Or when we think about so many beliefs about money, like, oh, money is the root of all evil, people with money are stuck up, or, rich people don't care, that's how rich people are, like, we have so many different things, like, why do we say that about money? Money is a blessing. Money is love. Money is, like, money is your friend, right? Like, money is not your enemy. Money is not out to get you. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, like, this isn't a process. It's something that my journey has educated me. And the whole thing is about, do you see how everything is a relationship?
yeah.
Your relationship with yourself, relationship with others, relationship to your finances, relationship to your friends, relationship to your dreams and your visions and your aspirations and your whatever it is you want. Everything is a relationship, right? We're all connected to one source of truth, what is God, universe, creator, whatever. We're all connected. And because of that connection, it's so important. If you were to do a thread, right, a map of a thread, everything is connected, and everything is connected to you. You're the common denominator here, and your experiences are a pattern. So if I'm the common denominator to all this single thread that's coming through me, or this guy, my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, my job, my money, my finances, my dreams, my goals, my aspirations, where I live, what I do, everything, that one single thread, which is coming through me.
Yeah.
And here I am, I'm the first one that I neglect. I'm the first one that I will not love. I'm the first one that I will not choose me when everything is getting triggered through me, right? If you just think of me being a light, right, which we are, we're all light underneath this vessel, this body that this light or soul chose. We are this light being that's just kind of flickering our energy to all of this. In this light, the code that's our soul carries all that memory throughout our life. That's why it's called a memory bank. Like, it's literally a bank of memories. Our memory, we have this chip that's like a memory, which, because when we get triggered, by something somebody says one time, like, seriously, bro, that one comment threw you off. Like, where else have you been told that? Where else could you not defend yourself that it piled up to you unleashing this way? That you're so amped up. Don't tell me that one thing threw you off this path. Do you know what I mean? So, so it's just people, whenever we get triggered, and trust me, I get triggered all the time, like I'm human, but the thing is that what happens is that when you start to look into a lot of these things within you, you start to become your own master, right? You start to be like, oh, tag that. Oh no, like I know, I recognize it. Like, nah, I'm not gonna react. I'm not gonna react. I'm not gonna give my power away to that. Like, no,
So
that's not
when did
true.
you begin to do that? When did you first begin looking at what, can you remember the point at which you said, okay, it's not everyone else, there's, I
Oh,
need to take a
this
look.
taking responsibility for all the shit.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. That was a very hard part for me, was because for a very long time I remained a victim. I blamed everybody. Oh, that asshole, or my asshole boss, or my douchebag family, or this. Like, I was always in this victim mode. Like, everybody was trying to fuck me over or screw my life. Like, or I would say things like, oh, my luck. Oh, me. Oh, I feel so dumb. Or I would say things like, I just have a black cloud following me. My luck. How this is all gonna, this is what's gonna happen. We just self-curse ourselves all the time. And, we say all these things because, we're literally saying, well, yeah, I'm open to it because, you're just inviting it in. And I didn't understand that there's so much understanding I had to do when I embarked on the journey. So, but to answer your question is like, initially I was in the victim mode, and because I was in a victim mode, my resiliency was very heightened. The willpower, like, I'm gonna fuck shit up. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna lose that weight. I'm gonna reclaim my power. But it was all from ego and will.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm gonna push, and I'm gonna push through adversity, which is a bullshit, by the way. I'm going to push through this. I'm going to rise above this. I'm going to do this. I don't believe in pushing. I believe in rising. Okay. Because when you're pushing, you're basically forcing against the current, right? You're not really being in a place where, like, why am I pushing if this is who I am? It's my birthright.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you're not really still coming into that illumination, right? You're not in that awakening process. So initially I was like, I'm going to do this. So I did tremendous amount of stuff. Oh my gosh, I ran 22 marathons. There are probably so many more that I probably forgot. I ran 2 in 2 days. I did like strength training competitions every year. I used to work out 6 days a week minimum till I passed out. I was such a gym junkie. I was so tunnel visioned. I was making like $130,000 a year. I was living in a luxury apartment. I was a fighter. I was a fighter. I was gonna rise above it. I was gonna push through, rise above. But then I realized that I was just doing all of this in my will and ego, but the internal healing hasn't occurred. All the pieces of me hasn't come home to support me. Here now I have this beautiful shell, 6 packs, best shape of my life. Like, men were flaunting all over me. Did not have a problem with men ever in my life. I just didn't attract the right ones. But here I was. I came to a point where I was like, I'm still attracting the same guys. Look, they're just an upgraded version of an asshole, but they were the same. They just made more money and drove fancier cars and took me to fancier places, but they were still douche. They were still disrespectful. They were still controlling, possessive, abusive, lying, unreliable, and all of this. And I was like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And then I hit rock bottom again. I was like, I felt like shit. I thought I wasn't good enough after all this work I've done, after all this transformation I've done. Like, I'm still don't have good relationship with my family. I still am, like unhappy at my job, not being recognized and working dog hours to make that 3% bonus. I am still not in a successful relationship. I was like, what's going on with me? Like this does like right now I'm like 37 and I'm like, what's wrong with me? And I think that this is when I really just, I think that, like I just was like looking for answers. I wanted to understand what inside of me or outside of me, like what. And then I remember somebody told me, this was like a few years ago, somebody told me, they said, well, everything is you pushed out. Dude, I really literally wanted to punch that lady in the face. I was like, what? He's the one who did this. She's the one who did that. He's the one who did that. They didn't do this. My coworkers did this. And I was just like pointing the fingers at everyone else. It's not my fault. And I did this and I gave this and I did this and I bought this and I gave this, it's not my fault. I was just a total martyr, I guess you could say. And then I didn't understand it. I was like, everything is me pushed out. What does that mean? What does that mean? Because I couldn't see myself. And the thing what I realized is that I didn't have a choice. I had to figure this out because I definitely did not want to remain where I was. Mm. What's the option? Just mope around in bed, depressed, cry, and work, pay bills, and just pray and hope and beg and search and look and buy, like, and that like, so that little step, one step, another step, another step, another step, just led to a point where, I had my, deep spiritual awakening. And I think this was supposed to be my path, this journey of overcoming so that I can help others. And I'm just giving a very rundown version, obviously, but so much more deeper than that. It's so much more heartaches and looking into not just my life, but how my life connects to my mother's, my sisters, my grandmothers, and just going back to the family lineage of abuse paradigm that I had in my family and the patriarchy culture that I came from, and also understanding, just unraveling so much of that, of understanding my own behavior took me around the globe and back a few times, just understanding where this, how do I dissolve this within myself to set myself free and liberate myself? I deserve to be free, and I don't want to live with guilt, fear, shame, embarrassment, not good enough, self-esteem, self-worth issues, and body image issues, and unsuccessful relationships and trust issues and all these issues that I had. I didn't even own it. It's almost like, I didn't even own it because I didn't even claim it because I didn't know that to be true. That awareness wasn't there. That level of consciousness wasn't there. And it was a journey, I would say. And I think that I literally really committed, like I was committed for quite a while, but I think I was just like, I'm too deep in now. I'm too deep in it now. I know too much now. And this has become who I am. It is who I am. I am this woman that I've become, who's overcome, who's been through it, overcame it, healed from it, and rising from it, and becoming her next version and her next layer.
So how did you tackle those once you became conscious of these patterns, this program that was running? How did you make your way through that stuff? Did you work with a teacher? Was there a certain
Oh
book?
yeah, absolutely. I was one of those. I was like, I'm one of those. I'm, like I said, my resiliency, right? I wa- I wanted to break free. I didn't want to keep going through this situation. And so for me, I definitely, worked with coaches, really high-end coaches. I paid a lot of money. Because to me honestly, I didn't want to feel what I was feeling. I was hurting. I was hurting. And I was hurting badly. I felt like a failure. I felt like a loser. I felt like, I'm stuck. I'm struggling. I'm like not moving. What's wrong with me? And I felt like a loser every day, you know? And I felt like life was engulfing me. Life was swallowing me. And I was just drowning, and I yeah, and I just kind of like I just didn't give up. And then I worked with coaches. Um and I learned to be, independent thinker. I worked with coaches, and I kind of learned more about myself, learned to peel so many layers of myself. Honestly, I spent probably close to over $50,000, I would say, of my own money, because I wanted to break free. I didn't want to be unhappy and miserable anymore. I probably over 50. And I committed to becoming the best version of myself, because I wanted to attract the things I want. I wanted the desire. I wanted to live the life I wanted to live. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be fulfilled. I wanted to live more of a meaningful, purposeful life. I wanted to live life on my own condition. I wanted to, just feel free, and within myself, not just externally, but within my own self, not feeling like I'm less than, or unworthy, or undeserving, or I was less than that person, or I was less than this thing, or less than that desire, or less than. I didn't want to be less than anything. I wanted to be me, right? And I didn't know who I was underneath all of that, but I wanted to just feel at home. I wanted to feel at home within my own self. I just wanted to feel whole and complete within my own self. And I didn't want to feel like there was pieces of me missing. you know I didn't want to feel a deep void within me that I always walked around with, no matter what. I would, like, you could give me the most fanciest dessert or the most nicest outfit or whatever. End of the day, I just kind of felt like, okay, when I take it off, who am I? When I take all that stuff off, the jewelry, the shoes, the clothes, and everything, yeah, they're great, and I took some nice pictures, but I'm close to 40 now. Like, what does it all mean? Is this is I've been doing that for so, do you know what I mean? Like, you just come to a point in your life where you just kind of like, you know I have a vision.
Yeah.
I have a vision. I have this vision for myself. And
And it seems like that's a blessing because some people go throughout. I mean, as far as I see it, in my opinion, some people go throughout their whole lives just acquiring more and more and more, and constantly looking outside of themselves. Seeking happiness, seeking fulfillment in things, and you got to the point where, there was this feeling of this is not, this is not it. And rather than going to something else outside of yourself, I think the blessing is, well, turn in within. It's here. Like there's something here.
Yeah. And the thing is that, and the process doesn't have to be a gruesome process. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be. And I think that a lot of people are probably not willing to commit to looking at themselves. They read some quotes from somewhere and they'll throw those quotes, and you feel like, wow, but you can tell they haven't embodied it. It's like people, and I used to be that girl. I used to be like posting quotes on Facebook from someplace I read, and I would do that. And, I felt like it resonated with me, but then I forgot about it and that was it. Like, what did you do with it? Like, did you embody it? Did you transform? Did you become it? Did you become confident within yourself? Do you now feel empowered? Have you regained your personal strength and restored the union within your own self? Have you come home to your true self, the person you are when you sit with when no one sees you? Have you met her? And if you have, what does she say to you? I know she speaks to you and she tells you this life is fucked up. I know she's telling you, you know what I want. Get your mind aligned and let's do it. Your mind is keeping you stuck. You're having those real conversations. You're having those real conversations is let's go to the gym. You can't lose weight like this. And don't eat that. You've had enough cookies. Or, like, don't just stop, drop, and roll every time he calls you. Or, you need to speak up and stick up for yourself. You're really having those conversations with yourself. So, but you're going to resist her because she's your truth. So, and that fight will continue. And it's because of that fight you're struggling outside, externally, because you're fighting with your own self, right? Like you have this kind of like, you're not listening to your intuition. You're not listening to your instinct. You're not listening to your gut. You're not connected to your own self, your own true essence, your soul, right? You're not getting to know you. And I think that's where sometimes you need to sit with somebody who can catch your blind spots and tell you, oh, that's what like somebody who you could work with that can catch your blind spot. Somebody who's done it for themselves and rise above it can do it a lot quicker because they've done it for themselves. So it's not going to take you as long as it took me, right? If you go with somebody like, like honestly, for me, when I work with a client right away, I just already know the whole story. You know what I mean? I already know how it all goes. I've been doing it for so long, and I do it for myself constantly. What I am and what I do, there is no separation. I am my service. I walk, talk, live it every day. It is who I am. I'm a conscious person that tries to do a conscious living. Does that mean that I'm perfect? No. But does that mean that I am where I used to be? Absolutely not. Am I much happier? Absolutely. Do I feel more peaceful? Absolutely. But remember, at this place is where you truly get to not only know yourself, but you also get to now be open to receiving that. Right? Because you're going to meet somebody at every point in your life, right? Because you're going to meet people that align to you at that time and space that you're in. But I wanted to work toward a time and space and reality where I became what I want to attract. Right? So at every point you're going to attract somebody. If you're going through a healing, you're going to meet somebody who's also going through a healing. They're going through some shit. But it's up to you to set those boundaries, to say, oh no, I'm sorry. Like, I need to focus on me right now. Rather than having somebody drain you. And instead of giving yourself, you're giving it out. Because remember, you're that single point of thread. So the best way to assess your life is to look around you and see what's around you, what you've attracted to yourself. So look at your relationships.
Yeah.
Look at your relationships with everyone around you. And this is not to make anyone feel bad. I think that's I don't want to say that's what life is, but that is what we're here to transform from, right? Otherwise there would be no transformation, there would be no growth, there would be no elevation, there would be no expansion, there would be no building what you want to build, your vision. There would be none of that if you don't transform your life from where you were to where you want to be. I personally don't even think I'm 0.5 where I want to be. You know what I mean? Like, according to my vision and goals, I have big goals. I just want to set and liberate as many people as possible from themselves so they
Well,
can sleep peacefully.
what if someone came to you and said, I'm overwhelmed. I feel stuck. I'm in my 40s. Been like it's like I just react on automatic. These old patterns, these old behaviors. I keep
Yeah.
getting what I keep attracting, what I keep attracting. These things that I don't want in my life, but yet there is. Since I've gone so long in this way, it's all that I know. It it brings with it a sense of certainty, a sense of safety, and I don't even know what step to take. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I don't have any trust that it's gonna work out, because it never has really. So what would you, if someone came to you with that, what would you tell them?
Well, the first thing I would say is, they gave me some great information. They've told me that they've recognized some patterns. And they've also said that, they've given me that valuable information that they've recognized some patterns, the repetitive cycles. And the second thing they said about themselves is that they're unhappy, right? And the third information they said to myself is that they're looking. Okay, they recognize a pattern, they're unhappy, and they're looking for a better, looking for a better feeling, looking to get to a better state, right? So first, that awareness, right? I just brought that to your awareness that, okay, here is the status quo. So now, if you want better, what does that look like to you? What does that mean to you, right? How committed are you to that? And have you chosen that? Because everything in life is about a choice.
Well, that's a good point, because you're bringing it back to them, maybe something that they haven't even questioned, and that's what is it that you want. A lot of times we're
Yeah,
on
like it's
automatic.
because
We're not.
people. Yeah, I know, because we all want to be happy, peaceful, joyful, abundant, prosperity. We all want that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But here's the problem: a lot of people don't choose it, or they don't choose to commit to it. How many people say I want to lose weight, and they've been saying it for so long? How many people say that they want to go travel somewhere and they don't? How many people say that they're gonna do this or that? They don't. How many people say I really need to look into that? I got bad temper problem, but it don't matter, right? Like, so many people, we don't commit to it. We don't commit to our own self. We don't commit to bettering our own self, right? We think that if we just buy that clothes and buy that car and buy that property and go on that fancy vacation and do all these things, that is going to make me a better person.
Yeah.
Am I going to attract better things that are sustainable?
Well, when you say commit to your own self, I'm thinking, that person.
Commit to working on yourself. Commit to working on yourself. Commit to saying, okay, you know what? I've made a commitment. I want a successful relationship, or I have dysfunctional family issues, or I don't have a good relationship with my children, or I don't Remember, everything is a relationship. Everything is a relationship. So, or I don't have, my finances are messed up, or I made some bad investments. Every single thing, it's about, okay, so you've committed that you made some bad investments. So let's not commit to looking into that. If you once you commit to yourself, then you are going to buckle down and do the work.
But I don't deserve it. I don't
deserve. Well, then that's again, it all comes down to whatever you feel. It comes down to saying, I don't want to live this way anymore.
Yeah.
I want to commit. I just help me. What do I have to do? I need help. And you also want to go to somebody who's going to understand you, who's done it for themselves. It's almost like, forgive me, if I've been through a sexual abuse and I'm talking to a woman who's all this doctor and PhD, but she's never gone through it herself, I'm not, you're talking to me like a medical journal article.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not feeling you. What was your personal experience? How did you overcome it? What was it like for you? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how did you feel so that I can rest my soul with you? Because it's all inner work. It's not the outer work. Because you don't see the scars outside. The scars are inside. So the first thing you have to do is that, regardless of what you're feeling, whether you're feeling like you're not succeeding in whatever area of your life, or whatever hiccups you have, struggles or whatever, everybody needs to talk to somebody that knows about that topic. You wouldn't go to an accountant for a prescription, right? You go to somebody who you've observed went through a transformation themselves and did it for themselves. Do you know what I mean? And in honesty, I'm all about integrity and honesty, because that's something that I definitely embody, and that's what I'm about. Transparency, honesty, integrity, trust, love, power, purpose are my top core values. And I had to find my core values. I didn't know that. I didn't know what my core values were. This journey kind of identified for me. So now I know that whoever is not aligned to that core value are not people that I can work with, or people that I'm aligned to. If your core value isn't at least one or two of those that I've mentioned, then how are we ever going to be aligned? We're off right off the bat. I don't want to have to convince you. That's who I am. Those are my core values. So, so I've done so much extensive work on myself. I read a lot of books. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I've worked with a lot of high-end coaches. I am really invested in myself. That's the commitment. The commitment is, bettering myself from the situation that I was in. I can always make the money back, but my time on this earth is limited. My time is worth more than money. And this is me saying that, you know what I mean? And I couldn't tell you, just overcoming some of those dark moments of my life to understand myself better and heal from them and forgive and let go and accept. It's work, but it's not a work that takes 10 years. It's not a work that takes 1 year if you're committed. That's why commitment is so important. If you're just going to be like, oh, I did one work, and then 6 months later, you're like, oh, fuck, I happened again, So you have to kind of commit to yourself to saying, I'm going to see this thing through. I'm going to come. I'm going to allow myself to be seen, witnessed, go through this with somebody who's just going to be honest and upfront with me. Somebody who's going to tell me tell me and work with me and give me those breakthroughs so that I am conscious, I'm aware, and I don't repeat the same pattern. and I'm able to choose me and walk away from that abusive relationship, I'm able to choose me and demand a job what I'm worth. I'm going to choose me and love me and, elevate my consciousness to tackle and gain emotional mastery to tackle those difficult situations in life and not get triggered, become more more liberated within myself to not let things trigger me or external environment shake me from my own beliefs and cores. Nobody's going to get me out of my own character, where I am sort of coming home to my own autonomy and my own personal strength and empowered, where I know I'm stronger than that. It's a natural process. It happens. It just happens. The journey sort of reveals itself.
Yeah.
But you must make a choice to make that journey. You must make a choice and a commitment to make that journey. Does it take years? Absolutely not. Does it take 6 months to a year? Maybe. Depends on how committed you are, right? It all comes down to it. Like I always say, the healing doesn't take years, it doesn't take months, it doesn't take days, it doesn't take hours. It just takes a moment, the moment you decide that you're going to. The universe is going to line up to support you the moment you decide that you want to heal from whatever it is you're going through.
Yeah.
So I hope that this conversation was helpful to your viewers and to you, and definitely helpful, even for me, because I feel like I learn something every day,
Yeah. This has been great, and just wanted to say, is there anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to discuss before we're coming up on the hour now?
Yeah, absolutely. Time flies, doesn't it? I definitely would say that I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and I'm grateful for how far I've come and being able to be of service to those that what we discuss resonates with. I definitely am deeply passionate about helping people break free of their own resistance to achieve their desires and goals in life. So it's a commitment that I've made to myself to help others, and to help myself and others through the process as well, so that we can upkeep, up level, uproot from our current situation to a better one. And that is my hope, that you don't remain stuck. It is my hope that you don't remain stuck in an abusive relationship, or in depression or anxiety or stress, or feeling alone and deprived and unresolved issues that are sort of like keeping you and preventing you from setting yourself free. And maybe you've suffered emotional losses. Maybe you know what I mean? Like, we're at a very difficult time right now, so all the help that I can offer, I'm here for it.
So if someone wanted to get in touch with you, to work with you, how can they reach you?
Well, they can contact you. And they can also definitely reach out to me through my social media. It's Taslima Akhter. You can find me as a mutual friend under Ade. I'm also working on revamping my landing page, and just, again, I'm never going to stop growing. So I'm up leveling and revamping all that stuff, and coming out more brighter and shinier and glorified to up level other people the same. Because what I do for myself, I do for my clients. It's just natural. Because if I'm not where I was 6 months ago, then why am I going to take my clients? Do you know what I mean? It makes no sense. So I'm always up leveling to another version of me, and that's what my clients get. Not who I was 6 months ago, but who I am now, and my future version of myself that I'm aspiring to be. So as I rise, they rise with me as well.
Oh, that's great. And couple other questions. I stole this question from Oprah. If you could look back and give some advice to your younger self, what would it be?
I think about that all the time. And there's so many things that I could say to her, but I kind of feel like, like it isn't over yet. It isn't over yet. So many of us give up too soon, and so many of us don't see it through. We throw in the towel, we say, F this shit, and we just kind of like just feel we're so quick to give up.
Yeah.
And I think what I would tell my younger self, because I went through that myself too, I was just saying that it's too soon. Don't give up too soon. Just
That's
keep
great
pushing.
advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's, yeah, because we can start at any time.
Yeah. Because I don't even want to say it's better late than never. I mean, I don't think we're ever late. I don't believe that at all, because I think that we are exactly where we're supposed to be. We're part of a divine order. And I know that I matter because I exist. I'm occupying this space in the physical reality on earth. So I know the space that I'm occupying matters. And what I want to tell the viewers is that you matter. Your life matters. Your desire matters. Your heart matters. Your body matters. Your mind matters. Your thoughts, your feelings, and actions matter. And I remember reading this, and it kind of really took some time for me to resonate with, is when a tiny leaf starts to grow from a tree, that leaf never worries about how much space it's going to take up. That's nature. There's room for every one of us. There's room for everything we want. There's space for all our desires, wishes, and everything. There's no shortage of it. A leaf doesn't worry about how much space it's going to give up. It's going to take up. A tree never worries before it spreads its roots and trees and branches. But we're so afraid of thinking that there's not enough. Somebody's always going to take from us. We're always losing. We don't have that abundant mentality that there's more. We stay comfortable thinking that this is it. This is all it is. I got to hold on to it tight. But we don't really think about, why am I doing that? Why? Look at this vast world that we're living in. There's so much space for me. There's so much room for my growth, expansion, elevation, so much growth. The more I grow, the more I can hold for myself. I have to stay stuck at a 50K job or a 100K job. There's so much more I can grow to. What am I growing? What is it that I'm growing? I'm not growing, am I? I'm like keeping myself stuck. My bank account stuck. I'm staying stuck. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want to throw this thing out. I don't want to declutter. I don't want to move. I don't want to make that shift, that change, that thing, or that job, or that college graduation, whatever it is that I want to do, I'm not doing it. Because I don't want to expand myself to more.
Yeah, I love the analogy of the leaves in the tree. It's not, thinking.
That's nature.
Yeah,
Can you think about that? That's just nature. Every single thing that exists in this world has a purpose. Everything that occupies physical space, time, reality on this earth has a purpose. Everything. Every single thing. The sun has a purpose, the moon has a purpose, the water has a purpose. 6 billion people have a purpose. That's how the world and the universe was created. Those tall buildings and these innovations, creations, every single person. And everybody is going through their own journey of finding their own space in a tree, And the growth is endless. You could take up as much space as you need. But the space doesn't start in your head. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
Yes,
it
yes,
is
it is.
in more in alignment with our true self. You know, we are expansion itself. We are abundant itself, you know. So that's I think when we're thinking in the limited ways, like I still you know, I do sometimes. It's something I'm working on. It's in
And
conflict.
I just want to say, very importantly, that's okay. Don't judge yourself because you're still human, right? You're human. You're gonna have these human experiences. I'm not gonna say that I woke up this morning, I was pretty cranky. I had no idea why I was cranky, but then I figured out why quickly. But you know, like I grew up pretty cranky and I was so cranky and agitated and you know, and but you know, I had to be like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna allow this feeling to go through me. I'm not gonna fight it. I'm not gonna struggle with it. Initially I did because you know by default we're such a doer that we're thinking something's wrong, something is wrong, something is wrong. Sometimes you just need to allow yourself to just feel things out. You know, you're human. We have such a this is patriarchy society, this masculinity, this force, like we have to make things happen, like, oh no, I'm feeling this way, where is the antidepressant, where is that, you know, I'm gonna go have a chocolate bar, oh gosh, I need to do this, like we're constantly thinking of trying to cut it, right, nib it in the butt. But why are you trying to do that? Because it's just, you just need to process it and let it out. And I think that's something that I know that I struggled with a lot because I didn't want to feel miserable. I didn't want to feel hurt. But that's the problem. That's the thing that got me into the mess to begin with. I didn't want to feel any of that shit. So because I didn't want to feel it, I was holding on to it. Remember? Comfort zone. You know, I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to feel it. I was going to do everything else not to feel it. I was going to go out, call a friend, go get myself a dessert, get myself an ice cream. Like I was going to not feel it. But why can't I do both? Why can I cry, feel shitty, and have an ice cream? But why am I not allowing myself to feel? And that's something that I know I have to, it's daily practice, is really telling myself that it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's a feeling, it's okay. You know, like I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. You know, like I'm safe. You
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
like just because I'm having this feeling, that don't mean like, you know, like, so we're just so afraid to feel, right? And I know there's something that and like I said this morning, you know, I was feeling crappy this morning, but then I was like, kind of processed it and I felt better. And I was so ready to have this amazing conversation with you because I think these are really some truthful information that we've shared. You know, there's some deep information that we've shared that has to do with you and yourself, right? You got to have those deeper conversations with yourself. And this is what I do. I help people to really lead with so much empowerment within themselves, with real solutions, a real change of perspectives and perceptions. And then it builds on each other, right? The mastery builds on each other, where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so good at this. Okay, how do I get better at this? How do I get better and better and better? And then they become so liberated within themselves that they are so empowered and regain so much personal strength within themselves that they're flying through life. They don't have time to be sitting at home and feeling crappy. They know too much. They know how it all plays out. You know, they know that they're not going to give their power away, you know, because somebody said this and that, because that's their problem, not mine. I'm not going to make their problem mine. Like, you become empowered, you know, you embody and you become it, and you exhibit that in how you walk, talk, and be. You know how you started this conversation by saying, you know, like, you exhibit those qualities, like you embody that because I could feel it, right? And that's it. You know, that's what this is about. You becoming that. The journey leads you to become that version of you. You know, you just know to release, let go, and move forward. It becomes like such a easy process.
Yeah.
The letting go was the hardest thing for me. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, nobody like, dude, like letting go was so hard for me. And I still feel like I'm still letting go of another layer, another layer, another. Every time you evolve, there's always going to be another layer, but there comes a point where you kind of look forward to relinquishing that layer because you're like, oh man, I really want to get there, so I know what I have to do to get there, so to me it's such a profound journey, and I think that my journey is just beginning. And the more people that I can awaken and illuminate to them their own self, to their own true self, to not leave their true self on the table and walk away and say, oh, this is it, this is me, this is who I am, this is how it goes, this is my life, to saying, like just a new reality you're living in where those conversations don't even exist. So it's about shifting that reality and sort of entering into a new level of reality that you want to live in, and then you get to choose another one and another one, and you become the master of your own reality.
Yeah.
And it is possible.
Yeah.
Regardless, it is possible.
So I want to end with 3 quick fire questions, and these are from my 5-year-old daughter. So you got to answer them really quick. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite food?
Mango.
And this is a difficult one. I didn't really understand what she meant. What's your favorite headband?
Headband? What's my favorite headband? I don't have one.
Yeah, okay.
If she's meaning my hair tie, it's like,
yeah, maybe that is. Is that, we'll say that, is that the
maybe
one?
next time she should come here and ask me questions.
Yeah. So I'm going to do some thank you for participating in this and sharing your wisdom and experience. And I just really love your passion, your openness.
Oh,
And yeah, like I
welcome.
said, you're one of those people that just, to me, you seem so comfortable within your own skin, so relaxed and just able to be yourself. It kind of triggers that part inside of me that's like a little controlling and but I really appreciate that, and thank you for taking this interview. And I'm just gonna.
No, I love these conversations because I feel like more people need to have these type of conversations, especially at a time that we're in right now. Managing ourselves is the most important thing right now. How we manage ourselves is so key right now.
Yeah.
And too many people are just really succumbing to this current environment around them and becoming we're allowing it. We're not even aware of it, but we're kind of allowing ourselves to become marginalized in this little vortex that we're creating for ourselves, like in the world. But we're not that. We're far beyond that. With the greater awareness that we possess now within our own self, we can embody that version that we want, and we don't have to stick to this one, right? We get to rise above it. And I think that's what I try to do, is I try to empower people to get through adversities and difficult times, as I have throughout my life. And like have gone through so much since the age of 2 or 3, like whatever it is, like I had to do that. I graduated with my undergrad and grad school, was a gold honor roll throughout my life. And even though I was going through all that, I was just, there's this part of me that understands that, and so yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And that's so true. Right now, we don't have to be at the mercy of just settling for the way that things are.
Oh no,
As you said,
absolutely not.
we have the power to choose. We have the power to look within and to together, create a better, more beautiful world.
A
So
better world than the one we're living in. Let's put it that
exactly.
way.
Yeah,
A better
yeah.
world than the one we're living in.
We can at
And
least do that.
can we at least do that? And think about the children too,
That's
right?
very important. Yeah.
Yeah, think about the children too, because it's the children that needs to sleep peacefully, and they can't really do that if the parents aren't, they're children. They rely on the adults. So it's so important that we give them that illusion that their vision of the world that they aspire to live in is possible. They want to think of sunshine and butterflies. Well, guess what? It's up to us to make them feel that it's possible. So absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And I
Taslima.
thank you.
So just some closing announcements. Again, this is Guided Meditations and More podcast. My name is Ade Richardson, and we were having a conversation with Taslima Akhter. And if you'd like to be notified about our upcoming guided meditations, which I offer every Thursday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and Sundays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you like or follow the page, you'll get the updates and notifications. If you have any comments or questions for me, you can send me a direct message. If you have any questions or if you want to connect with Taslima, you can also send me a message and I'll get it to her, or you can connect with her on her Facebook page. If you just I'll link that in the description of this video, and you can just click on there and send her a message. So thank you everyone for joining. Much love to all.